yeah, so I had this career in real estate, but it was very competitive and kind of a grind. And I was just looking for something that was a little bit different and some create something with a little bit more passive income.
All right, everybody. This is Kelly from Hills, Deals, and Wheels Mobile Home Investing Course. And today we have Stephanie Coy. And Stephanie, introduce yourself to everybody. I've been looking at your post on Facebook, but introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah, hi, I'm Stephanie. I'm the mobile home investor on Instagram, and yeah, I live in Boise, Idaho, and I'm single, have a couple of grown kids, and yeah, that's kind of me. Been doing
Oh,
mobile homes.
all right. All right. So, Stephanie, how long have you been in the mobile home business?
I've been doing this for about 4 years. Um, yeah, started off just yeah, it was about 4 years ago.
Okay. And what was your previous profession before mobile homes?
I actually was a stay-at-home mom for 20 years, and I homeschooled my girls, and which was just a blast. I had so much fun doing it. I was married at the time, and we were a one income household. So things were always really, really tight financially for us. And I decided about 5.5 years ago to go back to work. And I really got the bug for real estate. And so I actually got my real estate license. So I'm a licensed agent still. And so I did that for a short time before I got into mobile homes. So really, I don't have a college education. I just kind of, yeah, never had a career of any kind other than just raising my girls. That was my full-time gig for a long time.
Okay. Okay. And I love
Yeah.
it when I have realtors on here because I'm like, okay, so why did you make the switch from single family homes to mobile homes?
Well, I've always been super entrepreneurial, and so when I got my real estate license, I really wanted a business of my own, and it seemed to me a great way to have control over my time, and the sky's the limit as far as how much you can make and all of these things. But what I realized quickly after getting my license was that it's really just another job. And I was at
Yeah.
the mercy of my buyers and sellers. And so working in, traditional real estate, retail real estate is really just another job. And it's extremely competitive. I live in one of the fastest growing cities in the United States. And Boise has been listed on the top places to live in the United States for several years. I don't know where it's at currently, but it's always been, for the last few years anyway, people kind of got wind that Boise, Idaho was like the place to live. So people were flocking here, and so I had this career in real estate, but it was very competitive and kind of a grind. And I was just looking for something that was a little bit different and create something with a little bit more passive income.
Okay. Okay. And I've never been to Boise, Idaho. So what is the cost of living, there like? Are the prices of single family homes going up like the mobile homes are, or
Yeah, it's been a very overinflated market because of the demand, and it's been actually also on the list of overvalued markets in the United States for the past few years. So it's a very um, as far as cost of living, minimum wage, usually there's a big discrepancy there. So people who live here find it hard to buy a home. So the median house price just down the street from my mobile homes is around 500,000 would be the
wow.
median. Yeah, house price.
Wow. Wow. And then
Yeah.
how much would that mobile home be?
Usually 100 to 150.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So so
Yeah.
nothing like Texas, 20,000, thirty
Right.
thousand, nothing like that. Wow.
Right. Totally different
Wow.
market. Yeah.
Wow. So you were a realtor. Well, you still are a realtor, but now you're a
Yes.
mobile home investor. But are you licensed to buy and sell mobile homes?
Actually, my real estate license covers that for me.
Okay. And so with
Mhm.
that license, you're able to buy and sell as many as you want, or is there a cap?
Correct. Yes.
There is a cap.
No, I can buy and sell as
Oh,
many as
as
I want.
many. Oh,
Hmm.
okay. Okay. And so
Yeah.
without a license in the state that you're from, how many mobile homes could you buy and sell? Do you know that number?
I believe it's two. I think I heard it was two.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
But
without a like, and I don't know, and I actually haven't done a lot of research on what it takes to buy and sell if I didn't have my real estate license. So I think there's a dealer's license. I think, but I'm not sure.
okay. And so when you closing these deals, Stephanie, like let's just say, do you wholesale at all or
I don't. I did one wholesale deal, but yeah, just flipping is my game.
flipping is your game? Okay, I love
Yeah.
that. Let's talk a little bit about the wholesale deal that you did. Can you give us some numbers and how that went about?
Yeah, I really didn't know what I was doing, honestly. I was kind of flailing and I just kind of was winging it. I got a lead on this mobile home that this guy, he just wanted a certain price for it. He was comfortable with that price. We talked about, well, what if I turn around and sell it for 10,000 more? Are you okay with me taking that 10,000? He's like, "Yep, all I want is 40. I just want 40." And I said, "Okay, so if I bring a buyer for 50, you're okay with that?" "Yep, that's okay." So I actually worked with him and he put a little bit of money into it because it needed some fixing up just to make it a little bit more marketable. And then yeah, so I found a buyer for him, and we basically closed at the bank, and he got me a check, and that was it.
Okay. So you got him under contract for 40 and you sold it for 50. So that was
Correct.
$10,000 in your pocket for a mobile home you didn't even own.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And so what was the paperwork that you had to do? Is there any special paperwork that you have to do to wholesale?
Um, Gosh, this was a few years ago. So, um, I I had a contract with him, and I can't really remember, Kelly. I don't
Mm,
remember what we put together. And
mm.
to be honest, I don't know that it would be anything that was correct either because I was just winging it. I was like, I think this is right.
Right, right, right. And that paperwork, probably because you don't remember, it really means nothing. It doesn't go anywhere. Am I
Yeah.
correct? It doesn't go to the state or anything like that when you're wholesaling a mobile home.
No, no, it doesn't.
Okay.
Are you wholesaling in your market too?
I really hate wholesaling. To me, that's like
Okay.
another job. And me and my brother, we don't like
Yes.
it. We've done some virtual wholesale deals. But other than that,
Okay.
I don't like wholesaling either. I really don't
It's
care
kind
to
of a
do it.
grind. I mean, it's you're really out there hustling, and I respect people that do it because they are really working for those dollars. So I definitely don't. I think it's a great way to get involved in mobile homes without having to have any cash up front. And it's a great entry point, but for me, it's not really something that I like doing.
Right, right. I think it would really suck because I don't like cold weather because I've lived in cold weather all my life until the last 20 years. But I think it would really suck, trying to find a buyer and a seller and in the midst of a winter, storm or something like that. That's just
Yeah,
not
that's
something I
true.
want to do. I don't like driving
That's
in
true.
bad weather. And so, Stephanie, as of today, how many deals would you say you have under your belt?
I've done 20
Wow.
flips.
20 flips. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so let's
Yeah.
talk about this flipping. Now, this flipping sounds like that's a job in itself.
It could be if I was doing the work. but I'm not doing the work.
So you just
I,
pointing over here, or go do this, do that.
yep,
Okay. Okay.
yep.
So Stephanie, the price point you're telling us about, like over $100,000 for a mobile home. So how are you, with the capital and stuff, how is that working?
I use a lot of private money. I have a lot of private money investors, relationships that I've curated over the last few years. And that once I discovered that I could do that, that really opened up a lot of doors for me because the price point to buy them is higher and the price point to flip, we've got, my contractors are more expensive than in other areas of the country. And then, of course, my end dollar is more too. So it's all relative. But, the entry point can be prohibitive if I don't have that. I didn't start with private money though. I had a HELOC on my home. So I used my
Gotcha.
HELOC to get started.
Okay. And so can you just break it down what a HELOC is for those of us who don't know what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a home equity line of credit is what HELOC stands for. And so I own my own home and I went to my local credit union and they basically do a look at your, what you purchased the home for. They will run the numbers to find out what your equity is on the home and whatever that equity is, you can use that equity, not the entire amount. Usually there's an 80% loan to value on a HELOC, but you can take out that equity and you can use it for home improvements on your own home, but you can really use it for whatever you want. And for me, I knew that investing was a calculated risk that I was willing to take because I knew that there was going to be a return. I was going to be able to pay off my HELOC and any money that I borrowed from that
Okay.
HELOC.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so with that HELOC, do they give you like a lump sum of money, or how does that work?
Yep. It's basically like a bank account that this is how my local credit union does it. They had they open up this line and then they give you a debit card that you can just use against that. And so let's say you have a $50,000 HELOC that you have taken out. They give you a debit card and then you can just borrow against that.
Right. And so so let's just say you take the debit card, you spend 10,000, but you're paying on the 50,000, right? You're not just paying on the 10,000.
You pay what you borrow. So the anything that I took out, so if I had $10,000 that I borrowed, then it's just an interest pay. It's an interest only
Okay.
payment. So the payments are rather low. So if I did borrow 10,000, let's say my payments were, whatever the interest was on that, usually the interest rate, and I don't remember the interest rates. I want to say maybe they were at 6% or something like that. So relatively low interest. And so that would be my monthly payment until that 10,000 was paid back.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That's an amazing strategy. Matter of fact, I have a home that's paid off and I'm thinking, okay, what am I
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
do? Yeah, that would be a good idea,
Oh,
definitely.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You can
Yeah.
use that. You can use that HELOC for, really just about anything you want. You can buy a car with it. It's not, I'm not a financial advisor, so
Right, right.
don't come after me.
That's amazing though. So when you're looking for these deals, do the deals find you, or how do you go about finding these deals?
Both at this point. I really had a lot at the beginning. I had bandit signs in the ground. I put up signs regularly and it took me a little bit to find my first deal. Um, but after I did that for a little while and then I developed relationships with park managers in my area. And once I did that, those park managers, I mean, I tell you, most of my deals at this point come from those park managers.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, building a relationship with the park manager, once you build that relationship, you have so many deals coming in. I mean, you'd be like,
It's
man,
gold.
I can't. Yeah, it's a gold mine. That's why I don't
Mhm.
understand why people just call the park manager on the phone instead of being there face to face to build that relationship.
Oh,
I don't think that.
100%,
Yeah,
100%. Like I just tell people don't even bother calling because they get a ton of calls every day. Other people wanting to know if they have deals, and that's not how you build a relationship. You need to pop into the office, bring them cookies and donuts and, make your
right, right,
face known. And the more you cultivate that relationship with them, the more they're just going to remember you. Oh, yeah, she's the one that she wants those deals that I have.
right, right. And especially if they know you have cash, they don't have to worry about you going to the bank and getting a loan. You have the money.
Right.
They ain't waiting on Stephanie to be on a payment plan or anything like that. So
Right.
that's good.
Exactly.
So Stephanie,
Hmm.
what is your ideal home to flip? What is the oldest home you're willing to flip, and how many bedrooms or baths? Like, what is the minimum bedrooms or bath you're willing to deal with?
I don't really have a minimum. I feel like as far as if the numbers work, I'm interested. So I've done a one bedroom, one bath that was real tiny in a really bad area of town. And then I've done really large four bedroom, two bath. So it really just depends on, what on the numbers for it. If the numbers
Mm.
make sense, I'll do the deal.
Even if it's pre-HUD, you okay with that or?
Oh, age. I am okay with that. There's still a market for that. So I
Mm,
don't mind those. I just know that, there's not going to be financing available for that. So, and then, just I think is if you're doing a pre-HUD, and I've only done let's see, I think I did one deal that was pre-HUD. So most of them are after 76, but the pre-HUD, as long as it's in good shape, I'll still do it.
okay. So out there in your neck of the woods, a pre-HUD mobile home, are you guys still able to move those or because I know
No,
some states you can't, yeah. So it's pretty much stuck where it's at.
it's stuck
So
where it's at. But that's my market anyway, though. I'm not really interested in moving homes, so I want the homes to stay where they're at, and that adds value to the park. If I can elevate the condition of this home where it sits, then I'm bringing value to the park. And that's always what I lead with when I develop those relationships with the
mm,
park managers.
okay. And so Stephanie, with that one bedroom, one bath, do you remember the numbers on that?
Yeah, I got it for free.
That's the best number.
I know, exactly. I like
Uh,
free. So yeah,
so
I got that.
how do you go about getting free mobile homes? Explain it to everybody. Because people
Okay.
don't believe me.
I got this mobile home. This was actually my second deal. So I was ecstatic to get this deal. This was a relationship that I had formed with a property management company. And in this particular area of town, there's a lot of really small mobile home parks that maybe are like a dozen mobile homes, maybe 20, like really small. So there's a lot of a lot of those parks are managed by a property management company because they're just mom and pop owned. So I had developed a relationship with a manager, and she called me and said, "Hey, I got this free one. It's been sitting vacant. We had to evict, and do you want it?" So I went and looked at it, and it was the dead of winter, so nothing was turned on. I didn't know if the power worked. I didn't know if I didn't know
Right.
anything. I didn't
Mm,
know if the lights worked. I had not, no clue. But I thought, well, for free, I'm pretty sure I can do something with this. So
wow.
yeah, so I got that one for free, and I put in $7,000 into it. It needed, the siding was good, the roof was good. It needed really mostly cosmetic. So did rebuilt the front and back stairs. I put in a mini split, those
Right,
mini split
right.
units, the heating
Mhm.
and cooling, and redid some of the bathroom. We did interior paint, put in some flooring. So it was about a $7,000 rehab. And then I sold it for 16. So
Wow.
good
Wow.
numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent numbers. Excellent.
Yeah.
And you know what, Stephanie? I have a little experience with those mini splits. What are your thoughts with the mini split versus having regular central air? What are your thoughts? Because what I understand, those mini splits really make the electric bill for your tenant very high. And since I'm renting,
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen, them to have a high
Oh,
electricity bill.
right. Yeah, that would be
Mm.
really important to say. Yeah, I don't know, actually. That's a really good question. I don't know what the electric bill would be. As far as a flipper, for me, it's a lot more cost effective than to do all the ducting and everything like that for a central AC. And for a smaller unit, like a one bedroom, one bath, like this one was, it made a lot of sense to
Right,
do that for me. I don't know what the electric bill is though, because that's the only one I've ever done a mini split.
right, right. And so on the larger mobile home that you were talking about, the Ford, was it a Ford 2?
Uh-huh.
What were the numbers on that one?
That one was I actually bought it for, um, sorry, I'm trying to remember the person that owned it. He had a loan on it. He actually he bought it from the park, so it was a only 3-year-old home. So the park moved this home in 3 years ago. He got a loan. The park finances these newer homes, so he had a payoff of 85,000. So I paid the loan off of 85,000 to the park, and then I paid him another $5,000 on top of that, so 90 total in order to get the home. And that saved him from an eviction on his record because he was about to be evicted. So I bought it for 90. It didn't need much. I did do new flooring and paint and really just cleaned it up. I put about 10,000 into it. Is that right? 10,000. Yeah, about 10,000. So I was all in for about 100,000, and then I sold it for 157,000.
Wow, amazing numbers, boy, I tell you.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know, right? And
Wow.
that was also private money. I used a loan for that.
Wow. And so those 4 bedroom, 2 baths, man, they
Mhm.
really go like hotcakes. We
Yes,
actually own one. Yeah, we actually own one. And man, we had like a bidding war on that particular mobile home. Yeah.
yes. And
Yeah.
is that on payments that you sold
Yeah,
that?
we got them on payments. Yeah.
Okay.
We don't seller finance anymore. What are your thoughts
Okay.
regarding seller finance?
I've only done one deal that was a seller finance. I personally like to get in and get out, so that's why I
Mhm.
don't hold them. It's just my preference. I don't really want to deal with the tenants, and um, yeah, so for me, and because of the market, we've been in a really cash heavy market in my
Okay.
market, and it's just been a hot market. So I just kind of capitalized on that and, decided to do the flipping.
So the buyers that you deal with, 9 times out of 10, they have to go get a loan to pay you off. You're not doing no payment plans with them.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
And most of the deals are cash. We do have a really cash heavy market. So a lot of people that are coming from higher, where the housing market is even higher than our market, like California, Oregon, Washington. We have a lot of people moving in from those areas. So they're selling a home, for a lot more than our median house price. And even with the stick built houses, they're paying cash. So
Right.
so there's a high cash market. I have done a couple loans where they get third party financing of a chattel loan. And those have I just closed on one actually on Friday that was my buyer used a chattel loan.
Okay. And the one you say you have one deal where you seller financed it out, correct?
One deal.
All
Yeah.
right. So
And
did you
she's still
use
there.
Oh, she's still there. Do
Yeah.
you use like a mortgage loan originator or you create your own note?
I just do my own note and I don't do interest payments. I just kind of bake it. I baked it into to the, my
Right.
monthly payment.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
And so when you're doing these flips, what would you say, hey, I'm not going to spend this much money on a flip? Then it starts to get ridiculous, chandeliers and all that kind of stuff. At what price you say, no, I'm not going over? Is there a dollar amount? You say I'm not going over maybe 10, $20,000.
Um, no, there's really not. I don't really have a dollar amount because as long as if I'm starting with, well, I know my after repair value. So if I have, let's say my ARV is $100,000, I buy it for 20,000. It needs
Right.
40,000 worth of work, which is like top to bottom rehab. I'm still selling it for 100 and making a $40,000 profit. So for me,
Gotcha.
that's still a good
Right.
deal. So I
Right.
don't,
Gotcha.
as long as the numbers make sense to me, I will do that, and I will use if it's too much money for me to put my own money into the rehab, then I use private money for rehab as well, which is actually how I got into the private money. I had my first home that I had that was just too big. It was a huge home. It was an 1,800 square foot, 4 bedroom, 2 bath, and it needed
Wow.
everything. It needed a full gut. And I mean, I did a new roof, new HVAC, I mean, everything was new. So that was the first time I did something that was just too much for me. And I reached out to somebody that I know and I said, hey, do you know anybody that would want to lend me money? And that's how I got into borrowing
Wow.
borrowing money for that.
Mm-hmm. And so what about when you're getting these mobile homes from the park? Are you getting some type of storage agreement where you don't have to pay lot rent or you don't worry about that?
No, they always want yeah, I usually ask, but yeah, I haven't done a deal yet where they've said
Yeah,
yes to that.
yeah,
Although I do know people do that and it's great if you can get I always say ask for free lot rent if you can get it,
right.
sometimes you can swing a deal and get a couple months for free, but they don't give that to me. So
Yeah, me and my brother actually got like 6 months worth of free lot rent because we kept referring people to the park to buy homes.
Oh,
So it was like, oh, you
nice.
don't have to pay this month. You don't have to pay this month. So, I'm looking all over town, you
Oh,
know,
that's
so I wouldn't have
perfect.
to put, yeah, we actually had one mobile home since we've been in the business. It took us 6 months to get rid of the home because this hideous wallpaper that I refused to try to peel off myself. And finally, I said, this is ridiculous. I got to put the pedal to the metal and get this crazy stuff off. Soon as I
Just
did
take
it,
it off.
soon as we did it, 1 week later, the house was gone. But we have never held a home that long. Never, never.
Yeah, and
So,
sometimes it's those little
I,
things that make a difference.
oh
And
my God. Yeah. And mobile home wallpaper is just the worst. I mean, I don't know where they
yeah.
get all this floral. I just can't stand it. I cannot stand it.
Oh
So,
yeah, I have so many before pictures and the wallpaper is I mean it's just yeah,
it's
it's
a
the
challenge.
best.
Is it? So Stephanie, I hear you talking about park, investing in a park. What about on land? Have you done any of those deals or?
Have never done a land deal. I sometimes get phone calls or referrals for those, but it's rare. So yeah, there's just not that many in my area. Um, yeah, they do exist, but there's just not that many.
Okay.
So
All right.
yeah.
And how do you determine the value? Because a lot of newbies like, well, how do I determine the value of a mobile home once I buy it, what I can sell it back for? How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, to me, that's the first step. You've got to know your market and you've got to know what a mobile home can sell for. And in my area, it's very park specific. And I think that's true of most areas. The value is really based on the park that it sits in. So knowing not only your market in general, but knowing park specific markets. So For me, I do my own comps because I am a realtor. I know how to do the comps, but I live in a non-disclosure state, and Texas is also a non-disclosure state, which basically means that the sold price of a mobile home or any home is not public information. So it's not disclosed on, say, Zillow or Trulia or something like that. So it's difficult to, in a non-disclosure state, to find your comps. Even if you know how to do comps, it's hard to do them unless you're a licensed realtor. So in those cases in my state, when someone is starting mobile home investing, I usually have them really, when they're talking with the park managers, asking about what things have sold for, and if they know the condition of those homes when they sold, if they have pictures, even better. But knowing from the park manager is a great way to find that out, as well as keeping track of Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, all of those places as well. And you can go to Zillow and you can still see that a home sold. You just don't know what the sold price is. So anyway, I don't know. Is that something that you're familiar with, the whole non-disclosure
No,
state?
I'm not familiar with that. Like, like just like you, I build a good relationship with the park manager to say,
Mhm.
hey, can you help me? How much do you think this could sell for? Because the seller will tell you anything. Oh, I know I can get
Yes.
50. I'm like, okay, where? Not here. You can't get no 50,000. So yeah, because
Mhm.
you could really not have a good relationship with the park manager and she could tell you, he or she could tell you any price. So that's why
Mhm.
it's best to have a good relationship. Like in our
Yes.
situation, Stephanie, we're actually renting our mobile homes. So that's how we're able to get some kind of idea. Okay, after we pay the lot rent, how much more rent can we get? Because we do have, good relationships with the park manager. So yeah.
Mhm.
So wow. So you have when you're trying to get the value, you are able to go onto the what is the name of the website you guys go into the
The
in,
MLS.
yeah,
Yeah.
MLS. You're able, so you have
Right.
that to your advantage. So
Yeah.
that's pretty
And then,
good.
and yeah, so really, if you can, you really want to find out the sold price of a home. I mean, and this is, basic real estate 101. When you're doing comps of any kind, you're always wanting to know the sold price, because anybody can throw up a price even on the MLS and say, I want this much money for it. So knowing what the active listing is going for does not mean that's what it sold for. So, you could have, you could be really off in that. So I really like to hone in on the sold price. So
Hmm.
knowing your sold price. And if you are there's only 12 non-disclosure states, Idaho and Texas being two of them. So the rest of the states actually are disclosure states, meaning that you can actually go to Zillow and do your own comps. So you can find out sold prices on Zillow. And a lot of people do list on Zillow. So I feel like that's a great place to start because you can see pictures, you can read the description. It's really like, using the MLS kind of.
Right, right. And so, Stephanie, in the beginning, how were you finding your handyman or your contractors? How were you going about doing that?
I advertised in the very beginning. I advertised for when I found a home that needed work, like the free one. That was my second deal, and it needed work. So I found one by advertising, and that was not good. So
So share that horror story with us. What happened?
well, I, I actually had this guy that I found. I actually went through the process of talking with several contractors over the phone before I found this one. And I liked him because he was licensed. He was bonded and all of these things. And he had experience working on mobile homes, which was appealing to me as well because they're a little quirky and a little different. So um, and he was great to start with, but he ended up he ended up falling off the wagon, started
Hmm.
drinking again, and
Okay.
I didn't know this was a thing. And he just split. he split in the middle of a job, two jobs. He was kind of bouncing back and forth between two jobs that I had going. And he just left town. And he left with about $2,000 of my
Wow.
money and some of my tools because there were some things that he didn't have anyway. So that was, yeah,
Wow.
I recommend now to people to go to your local investor groups, whether that's just a Facebook group or an in-person investor meeting. Doesn't have to be mobile homes. I'm just talking about any kind of real estate investing, and really get a lot of recommendations that way for handymen, because I feel like if someone else has used them, then chances are they are going to be a
Right.
good contractor.
Yeah, I have a horror story. We hired a handyman. We had already put the flooring down and we needed him to cut the holes in the flooring for the AC, the ductwork for the AC.
Hmm.
And when the AC people came, they said, "Who the heck did this?" It was all in the wrong place. I had such a headache. We had to pull some of the flooring up. It was a nightmare. It was a real nightmare. And he ran off with about $400 or $500. But you live and you learn. Just won't be calling him back again. That's for sure.
No, and I'm telling you, I mean, contractors, I feel like finding good ones is, I mean, I feel like every time I hire one, I learn new things about how to vet them and how to screen them and how to, check their references. I feel like every single time it's a new learning experience for me.
Okay. And so, Stephanie, you haven't had to deal with any other challenges like evicting anybody because you say you only got one seller finance deal and she's still there. Any other challenges you had to come up with? Because I hear getting a loan for a used mobile home is a nightmare. Um,
It's not, well, I mean, I have a lot of stories. Yes.
mm,
I feel like the last mobile home that I just sold, I actually was it's kind of a nightmare story. It
mm,
was under contract, for almost 4 weeks. And the buyer she was getting a loan and there was no problems with the loan, but I actually went and signed at escrow. This was going through an escrow company. Um, and I signed, we're at closing day. So day 30, closing day, I signed. I can't get a hold of the realtor. I'm wanting to, because the realtor brought the buyer for me. I couldn't get a hold of him. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, is she signing today? What's happening? And so finally he calls me. This is like afternoon on closing day. And he said the park didn't approve her. She got denied by the
wow.
park. And so we were under contract and pending for 30 days almost. And so it was off the market that entire time. She even requested that I make repairs to the home that I didn't, they were things that came up in her inspection. So I did like extra work for her and the deal fell through. So that was terrible. She actually got, um, I didn't know, but the park had actually denied her way back. I just didn't know that.
Wow. That was going to be
Um,
my next question. I'm like, why did she wait so late to apply? But
yeah,
evidently, did she know it that she was denied?
well, she did not. She was confused. So they had clearly communicated to her, but she didn't understand, and the realtor didn't understand, and so there was a lot of miscommunication. So now I'm taking precautions to make sure that I have confirmation from the park that yes, this person has been approved, because it just kind of slipped through the cracks.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, Stephanie, you mentioned inspection. Is that something that's mandatory or it's up to the buyer, or how does
No,
that
yeah, it's
work?
up to the buyer. And because I list my homes on the MLS, and in my MLS, we actually have which stands for multiple listing service. When you list them on the MLS in my area, there's actually a separate, um, there's actually a category for mobile homes in parks. So it's a great way for me to market a home because usually a realtor is bringing me a buyer and they're already, they've already kind of been pre-vetted and pre-qualified. The realtor that they're working with usually knows that they have enough cash, so it saves me a lot of time and effort, as far as I don't have to market my own things. So when that happens, usually realtors will recommend to their buyers to go ahead and get an inspection. So, and
Okay.
I would too, as the realtor, I would recommend an inspection. And these are typical, like, just regular home inspection companies. So, but they're usually the inspectors are familiar somewhat with mobile homes.
Mm. And how much does something like that set you back, an inspection?
It's usually $300 to $400.
So it's
So
well worth the money. It's yeah.
it is, yeah. And actually, I've gotten into the habit now. I actually do an inspection on my homes before I put them on the market because I mean, I'm asking top dollar for my homes. I'm asking, a retail price for my homes. So I want to make sure that all of my T's are crossed, my I's are dotted as far as the things that I, as a flipper, want to make sure that they're taken care of. So I miss things. I miss things under the home. I miss certain, electrical things or plumbing things or, roof things. So I want to make sure before I put it on the home, I get an inspection. It just gives me peace of mind to know that, okay, well, I need to have my contractor go in for another day or two, make these few fixes before I put it on the market. So just kind of hedges my bets a little bit there.
And so what about a warranty? Do you offer any kind of warranties or
I don't, but I have before. I have just to kind of negotiate the deal. That does help. And for those that aren't familiar, a home warranty you can get those. And usually it's about $400 to $500 and it covers it's basically insurance for any appliances that are in the home. So that would include like an air conditioning, actually, I'm not sure on the water heater, but other appliances like dishwasher. So it's a smart move if you are buying a home that has older appliances.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And so, Stephanie, do you do any kind of JV deals, or can anybody reach out to you if they're interested, with working with you, or are you just
Yeah.
in Idaho, or do you go other places?
No, I'll go other places. I'll do a JV out of state and help someone walk through the numbers. I can kind of coach them through, figuring out their market and then also kind of figuring out what repairs need to be done to the home. I actually have a partnership with my oldest daughter that lives in another area. She's not out of state, but she's in a whole other market. So I am partnering with her. So that's a long distance partnership that has been going great, and she's learning a ton. And so yeah, I'm happy to do that with someone.
Yeah. So how would somebody get in contact with you? Do you have like a 800 number or email address you want to share with
You
everybody?
can actually, if they go to my Instagram, I'm at the mobile home investor and then just DM me. If they're not on Instagram, then you could just text me. My business line is 208-639-1217. And yeah, just text me and reach out. I'm happy to answer questions too for people who are just getting started in the mobile home world because it's kind of crazy. It's a crazy
Yeah.
little niche.
Yeah, it sure is. And I saw you have two daughters, right? I think I saw a couple of pictures with you and your two daughters, either on
Yeah.
Facebook or Instagram. And
Yeah.
so your kids are getting involved in this, and
Yeah.
are they enjoying I don't have children, but I would sure be like kind of disappointed if my kids wanted to go to college versus mobile home invest.
Right.
But
I
yeah,
know.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's so lucrative. People just don't understand. So how are your kids enjoying the business?
Yeah, so it's just my oldest. My youngest doesn't have an interest in the mobile homes yet. I don't know, she might, but my oldest is yeah, so she's working on her first one. We formed an LLC and she got right in there, started putting up her bandit signs around town and generating leads. And she got this home that we bought. It was, 100% another relationship situation. She got to know the park manager because she looked at another home he had for sale. And that one wasn't one she was interested in, but he called her when he knew this other seller in the park was selling and called her. And so she went, met with the seller. The sellers had other offers even, but they liked her. So they went with her offer and did the deal, and it has been such a learning experience for her.
Right.
It's been a lot. It's been a
Right.
lot with all the rehab that it's needed, stuff that we
Mhm.
didn't know was kind of behind those walls. You don't know what's going on.
You ain't kidding. You ain't kidding. And there we go back again with building a relationship. They might have had a better offer, but they liked your daughter. And we've been in
Yep.
that same situation. And it's all about
Yep.
building relationships. That's how you're going to get the best deals.
Yep.
So, Stephanie, where do you see yourself in about 5 years in the mobile home business? Because you've been in the business 4 years. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Well, I mean, I feel like mobile homes will always be my bread and butter. I love flipping them. I love working with people to provide affordable housing. I know 120,000 doesn't sound like affordable. My area, that's affordable.
Right.
So that I like that aspect of it, but I also love the education and I love teaching people and helping people get started with mobile homes. So I feel like I will probably be offering more in terms of education and content for people and coaching for people that want to get started. I also really love the idea of owning mobile home parks. And I don't know, not necessarily my area, because in my area, it's, $1 million for, a
Right.
little
Yeah.
tiny sliver of land. So
Hmm.
I probably would invest out of state in some mobile home parks, but yeah, I like the cash flow of those, and I feel like I know mobile homes, and I know, how to elevate the condition of a mobile home to make it a desirable place to live for people. So yeah, I think that's what
Wow.
I'd like to be doing.
Okay. All right. And so do you have any like final words of wisdom for somebody who, might be trying to get in the mobile home business or might be having some analysis paralysis? Do you have any final words for somebody like that?
I feel like the best thing to do is just get started. And I would get started by driving around and familiarizing yourself with the parks. And you can go to Google Maps and just type in mobile home parks near me, and it'll pop up your little red bubbles and just drive around and start familiarizing yourself with what the condition of the parks is. And I would take videos and pictures as you drive around and just, keep a file of those so you can know what each park looks like, the condition, and go in and just start talking to park managers. And, you don't have to have any kind of slick, you know, you
Be
know,
yourself. Be yourself.
speech.
Right.
Yeah, just say, hey, I'm
Hmm.
just curious if you got anything for sale or know of anything coming up, anybody getting evicted, and just start that relationship, start talking to them, and then just be that squeaky wheel. Just keep going in, keep showing your face. Yeah, so just get started. Just get started.
All right. There
Yeah.
we have it. We have Stephanie Coy out of Idaho. And I've
Yeah.
never interviewed anybody out of Idaho, and I didn't realize the prices were Wow.
you
Because
know.
I'm in California part of the time. And these mobile homes can get pretty pricey out here, but in Texas we don't have that problem. So
Right.
I think the
Yeah.
most expensive mobile home we ever purchased was 20,000. It's like a 2018. So yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
thank you so much, Stephanie, for coming on
Yeah.
here and send me your email address and I'm gonna send you that information out by the end of the day. And I greatly appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh,
This is Kelly
thank
from
you,
Heels, Deals,
Kelly.
and
I
Wheels.
appreciate it. It's been a
Thank you
pleasure.
so much, Stephanie. I greatly appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. See
All
you.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye.